What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at Wall Street bets. We're going to be looking in particular at the the 3 or 4 folks that have been heavily invested in GameStop, ticker symbol GME. As you can see on the screen here, we have Deep F and Value, and then also Sir Jack Elot. Of course, these are people from Wall Street bets, so the maturity level is a little low, but it is definitely funny. Both these individuals have been very heavily invested, buying calls, especially with this one, and buying quite a bit smorgasbord of shares of well over millions of dollars in value right now. Of course, the initial investment, believe for this one was basically $110,000. Now it's been over like 10x ish, with just the daily gains of being more than his initial investment, and is just still holding tight of value of nearly 1,000%. So nice return without a doubt, especially with this individual here too, is just being up nearly, it doesn't show his full screen here, but is showing that, hey, just today, I am up nearly 8%, nearly $100,000 on GME here, looking here on his positioning here of just buying the stock. Looking here at 88,000 shares of GME stock, with a percentage of just, I don't know if it's today or the overall value. It looks like his initial value was 257 something here, and he's basically, I'm not sure what this brokerage is on how they compute, but it would be nicer if you had a little bit substantial more of an idea here. Basically, potentially looked like he bought the dip, so if he bought it at 13, so let's go ahead and just jump into the chart. That's kind of around the range what happened from its last earnings. Of course, if you're not familiar with GME, GameStop, it's a company. Of course, we have seen the PlayStation 5 come out, the Xbox X series, and all the different various components on that. And then also, probably not the most hyped up game I've seen in the longest time, but probably one of the largest hyped up games in a while, was Cyberpunk 2077. Kind of got mixed bag of reviews here. We had a lot of issues, of course, with people with lower level graphics cards and PCs, and then on top of the older gen models, the PS4s and the Xboxes, older models. Again, both those devices are, I think, like 6 or 7 years old. They had a huge issue running the new game, and a lot of people return the game, asking for bug fixes, money back, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. But that being said, GameStop they didn't make the game, but they did sell quite a bit, especially the new consoles, and then on top of just the amount of people who are at home playing games. With that movement again, with the whole gaming sense of the space here, we have seen a super crazy short squeeze here again, which is kind of strange here because, again, we're not seeing that much volume. I would be very interested to see on how the volume closes towards the end of the day. Again, we're only a little bit here around noon Eastern Standard Time here, just a little bit past halfway up for the day. We are hitting a little bit of a wall here. Again, those are those purple parabolic SAR dots. So those purple dots here are basically hinting of the trend here. So the trend, if the dots are above the overall candlesticks, that means it has something like a suppression, kind of a keeping it down trend move here. But we've seeing it come up. What is that? That hit it, right? Or got super close to it, but hasn't broke through it. We also have a key Fibonacci level, which was a key level before, was around $15.87. If we can stay above that and continue, maybe even build a base here at around that $15 range, that 1736 is potentially going to be intact again. We saw that prices around 1736, with a lot of people pushing and buying $20 calls before the earnings, but of course, that was a huge crash here. A lot of the people who are true GameStop folks were saying that, hey, the numbers of this quarter, this is not talking about all the games we just talked about. We're not talking about all the consoles that were sold, all these other transactions that will be happening during the holiday season. Again, most stores, online retailers, everything is literally, they make their whole year on the holiday season. Again, the November, December timeframes are very, very profitable for a lot of these companies. So hence, a lot of folks are like, hey, next quarter, lights, we're shooting them out. shooting the lights out. Again, I'm all for it. I love seeing a company like this kind of making a huge comeback. Again, this stock was only like $3 like a couple months ago. Okay, really strong recovery coming in here. Potentially, again, what are we going to be looking at for some support and resistance here? We're going to be initially looking for that 1736, potentially going to be that overwhelming level, which we've seen kind of fail here multiple times going into earnings. Again, it tagged that 1942 just a little bit, but then came right back down during that day. And then really, again, kind of just stood sideways until the earnings came out. Now kind of a short squeeze setting up here, which you've of course seen with the stock being up nearly 7+%. We're seeing that potentially kind of come into full circle and potentially maybe tapping that 1736. So we're going to go look at some options activity going out here. So we're just going to be looking at any unusual activity going out for today. Looks like someone wants to buy the 15 calls. Again, they're most likely buying them to invest. But that being said, there's nothing too much really coming off the bat. There are some, like the put side, again, those could just be protecting and selling their positions and just kind of, again, hedging their positions. That's usually what a lot of the smarter investors do on that fact. But that being said, let's go just dive into the direct options chains. I'm not going to be looking too much on the weeklies options chain. I'm going to go straight to the monthlies. And again, without of surprise, there is a lot of options activity going out for $20. Again, $20. Why are people saying $20? $20. It's a nice round number. First of all, 20 is a nice number. That again, with a lot of volume, the spread is very competitive between 82 and 89 cents. And again, what really is a little juicy here, we have a lot of open interest around that level, which again, I find a little bit strange here. We do have a lot of interest here on the $30 call. That seems just those options are up to 33% today, so that's pretty significant. But even though the $20 options, it is out of the money again. So these again, the stock's only at like $15, nearly $16. These $20 options are still out of the money. The expected move for 28 days from now is $4.70. So that does put that $20 range within the expected move, putting it within that percentile of potentially being in the money. Which again, you can make money if this stock doesn't do anything. Like you can sell this call, you can do all kinds of things with options. I'm just going to be doing it on the very basic black and white scenario of buying calls for going long and buying puts for going short. I don't want to be diving into the crazy fundamentals of what people could be potentially doing on selling this premium, because the premium is pretty high. Again, we're talking, which again, this whole market premium is a bit high because, again, the volatility and the overall movements that we've seen in the last coming months really have just been pretty drastic, with a very strong recovery in a lot of these stocks. Especially, again, this stock has had a lot of action in the last couple of weeks and months, really. Really built a really strong base around that $11.80 range. So if we do see a break here, we kind of hit that level around that 15, 16, higher 15s to higher 16s, we could potentially come back down. Again, strong base is going to be kind of around that $13 range here. Potentially, again, around the 21 to 34. We've seen this movement before. It likes to come down. If it does come down between the yellow and orange line, which again is the yellow is the 21 EMA and the orange is the 34 EMA on the daily side. So we just flip to a little bit longer time frame on the weekly side. So what are we seeing here? Same kind of pattern here. We are breaking out of this very bad range that we've seen. Again, we'll just go ahead and just flip straight to the monthly. Okay, so way before even the financial crisis, GameStop was a hot stock and it was trading at $63. Not saying it's going to $63 tomorrow or anytime soon, but it has that DNA baked into the stock here. And again, even since the horrible housing crisis and the financial crisis that we saw in 08, 09, just took didn't just take 0809 out. It took years to recover from that. That was a very slow process on especially the believing in your bank is going to be able to have your money if you want it, and just having the huge amount of infrastructure and just amount of damage that was done by the financial markets, and on top of the banking system and regulations. It was quite an overhaul. With this being said, it did recover pretty strong, hit around the $55. Ever since then, really choppy here, and ever since 16, it has been in a very much downtrend. So are we in the first innings of potentially breaking out to that $24 to $30 levels? Maybe. I think this thing could really get going and has a great story behind it. I know they're trying to rebrand as not just being a place to pick up your game from your online order, but looking for a potential investment in this company with a lot of folks. Again, I'm not just saying the folks on Wall Street Bets are investing in. There are financial institutions that are very happily buying into the story behind the recovery of GME. So with that being said, we are again on the weekly side above the 200 EMA. So that is, we haven't seen that in a long time. So that's a nice little kudos for GME stock right there. Potentially, whatever you're gonna be looking for those lot dots here, we really want to see it above $20. So that's why a lot of people are buying that $20 call. If I was going to be playing this, I don't want to buy January $20 calls. I'm going to be a little bit more of a conservative and really find out when its next earnings is, and then potentially play a run up into that, which we've seen previous times before. Even the February or April timeframes is something that I want to be interested in. Like, so for example, I can buy the $20 options for, again, not a big fan of buying them out of the money. So that's the first case right there. I would rather buy something like the $16 or $15 call at the least at that level there. Would rather buy something a little bit further in the money, potentially even like the $12 to $10 call if I wanted to really play this. Because again, if you look on the chart, this thing has had quite a rocky boat ride. So that being said, guys, I hope this was educational. I hope you learned something. And on your way out, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.